Alright, welcome to the Fellowship of the Fortified Tower again. Benny Rounds, your host, and the material that I want to go over right now is something that I've been praying about because, what's the date today? It's April 9th, I think, 10th of April. Easter was yesterday. So I have an old map I made up a long time ago, but it'll serve its purpose for what I want to talk about today, and that is basically the routes that these invaders are going to be taking, you know, to give it to people that live in the areas of these routes a heads up that if they live near these routes, they need to be on their toes, okay? Events are transpiring so quickly that I felt compelled to pray about it and ask the Lord, you know, kind of like where are we, you know? And what I'm getting is that these events are nearby, okay? They're very near, and there'll be events before all this happens that stage this scenario and set it up. So and I don't know, I think they're going to happen pretty fast, pretty rapidly, okay? It's what I get, and the burden that I feel and sense from him is that he wants us out there so that the folks that live in these areas will have something out there before they shut the internet down and change it all up, so that they can refer to it, they can make a hard copy of this or whatever they want to do and share it with who they feel led to share it with. So without any further ado, I'll just get on with it. Okay, they're going to land in Astoria, up here in Washington, okay? These are going to be Japanese and Chinese, okay? And this will be probably after the Taiwan scenario happens, and there's a Syrian scenario we're going to get involved in over there, and it's not going to be good for Syria, and it's really going to set the stage for everybody in the world just hating our guts more than they already do. But it's just the way it is. So they're going to be landing here in Astoria, and they're going to be coming down the 80, okay? And they're going to be heading towards Salt Lake City, in that general area. And then they're going to be coming across the 80 here, towards across the Rockies, and then head out towards the middle of the country. But I imagine what they'll do is they'll drop in airborne troops. Now this is after the bombing, okay? This is going to be sometime after the bombing. And the bombing is going to occur, according to what Chuck Youngbrandt had recorded, 37 days after this Midwest earthquake, okay? And the Russians and the Chinese and all their allies will see that this is the opportunity they've been looking for. And by that time, they will be ready to pounce and launch their attack. I mean, they're getting really close to it right now. And all this minutia you see going on over in Ukraine right now, and in some other places, is it's sort of like a training cycle for the Russians in a way, and the Chinese to get all their ducks in a row before this event. Okay, and they're doing a pretty darn good job of it. And the news is reporting a bunch of lies about how bad off the Russians are and all this other stuff, but the fact of the matter is that it's much worse than they're letting on, and they're just there's nothing they can do right as far as NATO goes. Anything they're doing right now is really a big mistake, and they're being guided by some erroneous spirit or whatever that's just basically painting them into a corner. So, and it's actually helping the Russians and helping the Chinese with what they're doing. So, anyhow, And, and what's going on here in the United States right now is also assisting their efforts, okay? And that's about as far as I'll go with that. But you know, there are people here in this country that have been recruited by them in one form or another, in one shape or another, and so they're helping push this whole scenario. But anyhow, so they're going to try to land in Frisco, but I don't think they're initially going to be that successful. I'm not quite sure why. Maybe because of earthquake damage or some other reasons, but they're going to meet some resistance here, and then eventually they will get through it and get on the 80 and head east, also through Salt Lake City. And these guys might link up here. They'll probably drop in airborne troops to seize certain, you know, strategic to them locations that they have all planned out. And they'll be coming also from up through Mexico, and I don't know exactly where they're going to land, but they're going to land somewhere in this area near Los Angeles, and head down the 10 towards Texas eventually, and branch out. And they'll seize certain locations that they have deemed seizable, because this is going to be after the bombing. So after the bombing, there's going to be a lot of havoc and a lot of damage and a lot of destruction that they're going to want to probably avoid some of it. So they'll probably do some aerial recon, some satellite recon, and determine what changes need to be made, if there are any, to their plan, and then implement those changes into the whole invasion scenario. And they'll have real-time intelligence from people that are already here also to let them know what's going on. And so they'll you know, write it up and send the orders out, and then make the call, you know, go, 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 and they'll go, and they'll come in. And they're going to be coming in from here, from Canada, and here, and through Montana, probably down through here somehow, from this area of Canada, and then the main Russian invasion force is going to be coming in here. And this has already been published, but I'll go over it again. But right here at Slaughter Beach in Delaware, they're gonna land right here. And when you think about it, if you look at this area, it's a perfect place to do it, because they've got a highway that's right next to the beach, and they can just drive up on it and drive right into Philadelphia. Okay, they'll meet a little resistance there, but not a whole lot, because they'll be busy trying to see, because there are going to be other places where they're going to put other invasions, but other feints, you might say, that are going to throw off our military to some degree until our military finally figures out what their real plan is. But by that time, it's going to be way too late. And they want to seize that area because there's a great port there. There's air facilities there, so they can seize the airfields, the airports, and seize the port, and then they can bring in all their naval gear and everything else, and all their support mechanism and their logistics can go through here, and then keep feeding their armies that are going to be coming through here. Okay, so you've got the 84, the 90, the 80, the 15 up through here, the 70, the 40, and the 10. Okay, coming from the west, and then from here you've got the 80 and the 70 that go from the east to the west, and they'll be seizing these cities that are worth seizing. Okay, and so these routes, these highways, you know, the 70s, the 70, the 80, the 90, down here in Florida. Now this part of Florida, I just basically put a line through it because this section of Florida is going to be underwater. Okay, it's going to, from the bombing, it's going to cause such seismic disturbance that it's going to, the whole plate's going to be going under all this serious vibration. So as a result, part of Florida is going to sink. Okay, it's just going to sink, and you know, everything that's south of this line basically is underwater. Now up in here in this area, you know, there'll be a consolidation of the good old boys, I guess, and it'll be a relatively safer area to be in. Okay, but in this area up here in northern Arkansas and probably southern Missouri too, but this area, you know, generally in here will be you'd be better off being in than you would be over here, anywhere over here, because this area is slated to have a tsunami of some sort hit it also, and everything that's from here to the Appalachian Mountains is going to be deluged. Okay, so you know, that's something to think about. If you live in these areas here, you might want to think about relocating. And then people over here in California as well. You know, I don't know how much of California is God has slated to sink also, but it's going to. And you know, I mean, the why and all that, I'm not going to get into that. Okay, I think I've done it before, so, and others have done it, you know, and I'm just going to state what's going to happen and how you need to prepare now for this. Okay, I would get some maps, get some real paper maps. Okay, don't rely on your little because it isn't going to be working. That's going to be one of the first things they're going to knock out. Okay, the comms will go down. There'll probably be 3 EMPs. Okay, right over the country, bang, and it's going to knock out the whole grid. All right, and everybody's phone and everybody's laptop and everybody's computers and all that jazz, and the comms are going to be just, that's it, it's over. And nobody's going to be talking to anybody except their military. It's been, you know, got EMP-proof protection on all their gear and everything else. So, and our military to some degree will have that capability too, but not much. And you know, it's going to be just a total clustered foxtrot. Okay. So, so get some maps. Okay, and if you live in these areas, Chuck was saying if you're like anywhere within 50 miles of one of these routes, you know, you want to be like, you know, just stay the heck out of the way. Okay, because these people, when they come in, they're just going to annihilate everything in their path. It's just going to be missiles